I died, choking on my own blood. The copper tang flooding my mouth as my brother's fist connected with my face one last time, shattering bone and spirit alike. The last thing I saw was my parents' faces, twisted not in horror, but in that same mocking laughter they'd perfected over years of turning my pain into their punchline. And then, nothing. Blackness. Until the world snapped back into focus, my heart pounding like a war drum. And I realized with a jolt that chilled me to my marrow, I was 13 again, staring at my reflection in the bathroom mirror of our cookie-cutter McMansion in suburban Ohio, the faint scar from last summer's accident already fading on my cheek. Hannah Hale, the family doormat, had a second chance. And this time, I wouldn't bleed quietly. That bathroom mirror hadn't changed, cracked in the corner from when Dad hurled his beer bottle during one of his episodes. The one Mom swore was just stress from work. I touched my face, fingers trembling, expecting the swollen bridge of my nose from the future beating that would come in 5 years. But it was smooth, unmarred, the skin of a kid who still believed her family loved her underneath the bruises. The date on my flip phone, yeah. Those ancient bricks we called phones back then confirmed it, June 15th, 2008. 5 years before the party where Jake would accidentally slam his elbow into my face during a backyard brawl, claiming it was all in fun, while Mom and Dad howled like it was the best joke since Dad's promotion at the auto plant. That night, I'd laughed too, because what else could I do? Cry? And they'd call me dramatic. Fight back. And I'd be the ungrateful bitch ruining family night. But I remembered every second of what came after. The ER visit where the doctor side-eyed us, but said nothing. Small-town Ohio wasn't big on family matters. The way Jake whispered in my ear later, "You deserved it. Freak," his breath hot and laced with cheap whiskey he'd swiped from Dad's stash. And the secret that unraveled it all, the summer before my death. I'd found the letters in Mom's hope chest. Not love letters. Oh no, bank statements, forged signatures, and a trail of embezzlement from Dad's job that Mom had covered up, using my college fund to plug the holes. They'd framed me for it when the auditors came sniffing, planting evidence in my laptop because I was the troubled one, the girl with the attitude problem, who skipped church youth group to read books about girls who burned it all down. I went to prison for their crimes. 3 years of hell in a women's facility where family visits meant Jake sending postcards mocking my orange jumpsuit. And on release, broke and broken, I'd confronted them at that fateful barbecue. Jake's punch was the finale. The cops ruled it self-defense when I lunged at him. But the fall down the deck stairs? That was the accident they walked free from. Now, reborn in this scrawny 13-year-old body, I felt the rage coil like a snake in my gut. This wasn't some cosmic mulligan, it was a loaded gun, and I had 5 years to aim it right. No more playing the good daughter, the invisible sister. I'd dismantle them piece by piece, starting with the lies they told themselves to sleep at night. School was my first battlefield. Back then, I was the quiet weirdo in baggy jeans and band tees, Nirvana knockoffs from the thrift store, hiding report cards that could have been straight A's if I wasn't too busy dodging Jake's pranks. He was the golden boy, 2 years older, quarterback dreams already blooming on the freshman football team. Teachers adore him. I was the one sent to the counselor's office for withdrawal, but knowledge was power. And I had 5 years' worth crammed into this teenage skull. I aced my algebra final that week, not by studying hell. I barely cracked the book, but by remembering the shortcuts from my brief stint as a tutor in lockup, teaching inmates basic math to pass the time. Mom noticed first. She was in the kitchen, stirring hamburger helper with that vacant stare she got when Dad was late from the bar. Hannah, your teacher called.
Said you.
Solve some advanced problem?
Like,
Pre-calc level. Her voice was laced with suspicion. Like excellence was a symptom of something worse. I shrugged, forcing the old me's nonchalance. Just clicked, I guess. Brains are weird. Inside, I was screaming, click? Try reliving your life like a bad rerun. But I smiled, sweet as pie, and helped set the table. Jake lumbered in then, reeking of Axe body spray and entitlement, tossing his gym bag on the counter. What's for dinner? Losers? Coach says I might start next game. Dad clapped him on the back when he got home, the slap echoing like approval from on high. That's my boy. Hannah, you could learn a thing from your brother. Stop moping around like your aunt's ghost. Aunt Ellie, the family black sheep who'd OD'd in '95.
or so they said.
Another lie I'd uncovered in prison letters. Mom had pushed her out after Ellie caught wind of Dad's side business skimming from suppliers. History repeated.
All right.
I bit my tongue, but my mind raced. Step 1. Build the armor. Grades were the start, scholarships meant escape routes. Money that couldn't be siphoned into their black hole. Summer blurred into a grind. I volunteered at the library, not out of goody two-shoes goodness, but to network with Mrs.
Hargrove.
the town archivist who'd later testify against me in the embezzlement trial. Back then, she was just a kindly widow with access to public records. You're a natural researcher, dear, she told me over dusty microfiche of local businesses. I nodded, filing away details on Dad's employer. Hale Auto Parts, wait.
No.
It was Thompson Motors back then. The name change after the restructuring I'd caused in my first life by anonymously tipping off the IRS. Jake hated my glow-up. What? You think reading makes you better than us? He'd sneer, tripping me in the hallway so I'd spill my books. Once, he cornered me in the garage, his fist raised like practice for the future. Say you're sorry for being a bitch. I didn't flinch. In my head, I saw the blood, heard the laughs. Sorry? For what? Existing. His punch grazed my shoulder, testing waters, but I twisted away, knee connecting with his thigh hard enough to make him yelp. Dad burst in, mistaking it for roughhousing. Boys will be boys.
Hannah.
Lighten up. That night, I started the journal. Not some diary of teen angst, a ledger of sins. Every forged check I glimpsed in Dad's briefcase, I picked the lock with a paperclip. Muscle memory from prison crafts. Every whisper from Mom about tightening belts while she bought Jake new cleats. And the big one, overhearing them in the den, late one night, plotting to borrow from my future savings bonds Grandma left me. She's too young to notice, Mom said. And if she does, we'll say it's for the family. Family. The word tasted like bile. By fall, I was top of my class, fielding college scout emails that made Dad puff up with borrowed pride.
See?
Hale blood runs deep. But Jake? He was slipping, failing bio because he spent practice high on pilfered Adderall from Dad's drawer. I slipped an anonymous note to his coach. Check the quarterback's locker for pills. Not enough to bust him wide open. Just a crack in the pedestal. The real fun started at Christmas. Grandma's bonds arrived. Crisp envelopes with my name. Mom eyed them like a hawk. We'll hold on to these for safekeeping, sweetie. I smiled. All innocence. Actually, Mom, I opened a custodial account at the bank. Direct deposit. Her face soured. I'd beaten her to the punch, using library research to set it up weeks ago. Dad grumbled about kids these days, but I saw the fear flicker. Good. Let it simmer. Sophomore year, I bloomed into the girl I never was, debate team captain, editor of the school paper. The one boys whispered about in the halls. Not for their attention. I had zero time for crushes, but to build alibis. Allies. Sarah Klein, the poli-sci whiz who'd visited me in prison out of pity, became my ride or die. We plotted mock scandals in her basement, honing my edge. You're like a shark in Scrubs, she'd laugh. If only she knew. Jake's jealousy festered. He got benched after a drug test, my tip-off worked, and blamed me in whispers to his buddies. Freak sister's out to get me. One night, he snuck into my room, reeking of rage and Boone's Farm. You think you're hot shit now? His hand clamped my wrist, twisting. I didn't scream. Instead, I whispered, I know about the weed farm in the basement.
Jake.
Dad's hobby greenhouse? Cops would love that. He froze. It was true, another prison revelation. Their side hustle growing pot in the crawl space, selling to truckers at the plant. Small time, but enough for felony charges in Bible Belt, Ohio. You wouldn't, he hissed. Try me. I wrenched free, heart hammering. The power shift was intoxicating, a drug better than any high. But betrayal cut deeper than fists. It was the mornings after, when Mom hugged me with one arm while counting cash with the other, or Dad's proud grin at my report card masking the ledger he hid under the floorboards. By junior year, the cracks spiderwebbed. I hacked the school database, basic SQL from online forums. Nothing fancy, and leaked Jake's cheating on exams. Expulsion loomed. He begged me in the parking lot, rain slicking his perfect hair. Please. We're blood.
Blood.
The word that bound us in my first death. Blood washes off, I said, walking away.
Inside.
It tore at me, this boy who'd once shared forts and fireflies. Now a monster molded by our parents' neglect. But mercy was a luxury I couldn't afford. The turning point came that spring, at the family Easter brunch. Grandma was there, sharp-eyed and suspicious as ever. Over ham and deviled eggs, Dad boasted about his big project at work, inventory adjustments that smelled like theft. I waited until dessert, then dropped the bomb. Hey,
Dad.
Remember that audit last year? The one where they found discrepancies in the parts log. Silence. Mom's fork clattered. Hannah, that's not. I emailed the compliance officer today. Anonymously, of course. Just to double-check. Lies. All of it. I'd sent the tip months ago. Timed for now. But their faces? Priceless. Jake's eyes bulged. Dad went red as the Jell-O salad. You little, he lunged. But Grandma's cane thwacked the table. Enough. What's this about? Richard, the dam cracked. I fed her just enough, vague hints of financial irregularities, and by week's end, she was lawyered up, demanding audits on her investments. The bonds stayed mine. Their house of cards wobbled. Summer before senior year, I interned at the prosecutor's office. Nepotism via Mrs. Hargrove's connections. There, I learned the ropes. How embezzlement cases crumbled without paper trails. How family testimony could bury you. And I built mine. Digitizing every scrap from home, photos of the basement grow-op snapped on my burner phone. Bank app screenshots of Mom's shell accounts. Jake confronted me by the creek behind our house. The one where we'd skip stones as kids.
This ends now.
Dad says if you don't back off, we'll make you regret it.
Regret.
The echo of my last breath. I laughed, cold and unfamiliar. Like the party, the punch, the stares. His face drained of color. He had no idea how I knew. I died because of you.
Jake.
All of you. And I'm not going quietly this time. He swung wild, fist whistling past my ear. I sidestepped, shoving him into the mud. Touch me again, and the DEA gets the full tour of your little empire. He scrambled up, sputtering curses, but the seed was planted. Doubt. In him.
In them.
Mom started locking her doors. Dad drank harder. I thrived, full ride to OSU locked in. Debate nationals under my belt. Sarah and I celebrated with stolen beers, toasting to burning bridges. But revenge is a slow poison, and it seeped into me too. Nights I stared at the ceiling, wondering if this Hannah, the vengeful ghost in a girl's skin, was any better than them. The betrayal wasn't just theirs, it was the mirror, reflecting a family rotten from the root. Still, I pressed on. Senior year dawned like a storm front. Homecoming week. Jake's redemption arc imploded. I accidentally forwarded his sex to the cheer squad, screenshots from his phone. Lifted during a family movie night grab. Scandals flew. He lost his spot on the team for good. Dad's rage was volcanic. You're destroying us. You ungrateful slut. The word landed like a slap. But I held his gaze.
No.
Dad. You did that when you started cooking the books. When you let Jake hit me and called it love. Mom gasped. We never. You did. Every time. The air thickened, accusations hanging like smoke. Grandma, visiting for the game, pulled me aside later. I've seen the statements.
Child.
Your father's been bleeding us dry for years.
But this
fire in you. Be careful it doesn't consume you. Her words haunted me as I plotted the endgame. Thanksgiving loomed, the traditional blowout where, in my first life, the embezzlement had bubbled up. This time, I'd make it erupt. The turkey was overcooked. The way Mom always charred it when stress hit peak levels, nerves frayed from Dad's voluntary leave of absence after the plant's internal probe. Grandma sat at the head, her lawyer's briefcase propped like a sentinel beside her chair. Jake slouched across from me, nursing a black eye from a bar fight he'd picked last week, blaming stress from college rejection letters. Ohio State had waitlisted him. My acceptance was framed on the mantel, a silent taunt. We passed the mashed potatoes in brittle silence, the clink of silverware the only soundtrack. Dad cleared his throat, sweat beading on his brow despite the AC blasting. So,
Hannah.
Big plans for the future? That scholarship covers books. But you'll need spending money. Family helps family, right? The hook baited. I speared a green bean, chewing slowly. Actually, I've been thinking about investing. You know, like those bonds Grandma gave me. Safe. Long-term. No risks. Mom's knife scraped her plate. Investing? At your age? Honey, let the adults handle that. Grandma's eyes twinkled. Nonsense. The girl's got a head on her shoulders. Unlike some. Her gaze flicked to Dad, who shifted like a pinned bug. Jake snorted.
Yeah, well.
At least I'm not a snitch. The word exploded softly, but it detonated the room. Forks dropped, breaths held. Jake, Mom hissed. But he was on a roll, resentment spilling like gravy. She ratted me out to coach. To the team. Hell, probably to you too.
Dad, about the
Stuff. He trailed off, eyes darting to the basement door. Dad's face purpled. Enough. This is Thanksgiving. Not some witch hunt. But Grandma leaned forward. Voice steel. Stuff? What stuff? Jacob? Enlighten me. I could have let it ride. Watch them squirm. But the hook was mine to set. It's okay.
Jake. Tell her.
About the greenhouse. The one that smells like skunk every spring. The table froze. Mom's wine glass tipped, staining the cloth red. Dad lunged up, chair toppling. You lying little. Grandma's cane wrapped the floor.
Seat. Down. Now.
He obeyed, trembling.
She turned to me.
Greenhouse. Hannah? I nodded, voice steady as a prosecutor's closing. Dad's side project. Hydroponics. They call it. But not tomatoes marijuana. They've been selling it out of the garage to cover other shortfalls. Lies woven with truth. The grow-op was real. The sales a hunch confirmed by overheard trucker chats. But the embezzlement? That was the detonator. Jake cracked first, tears streaking his face. It was his idea, to pay for my camps.
My gear.
Mom knew. She balanced the books. Mom wailed. A sound like a wounded animal. For the family. Everything for the family. Dad buried his head in his hands. We were going to pay it back. The plant gig was temporary. Grandma's face hardened to granite. Temporary? Like the 20 grand you siphoned from my trust? Or the tuition you stole from this girl's future? She'd hired the PI weeks ago. After my hints, evidence now stacked in her briefcase. The confrontation devolved into chaos, accusations flying. Mom clutching her pearls, Jake's sobbing apologies that rang hollow. I sat through it, detached, a spectator to my own apocalypse. When the cops arrived, Grandma's 911 call. Citing imminent threat, they cuffed Dad first, his Miranda rights blurring into Mom's hysterics. Jake begged me, on his knees, Sis,
Please.
don't do this.
Sister.
The title I'd worn like a noose. You stopped being my brother when you laughed as I bled. They hauled them out in the drizzle. Neighbors peeking from curtains. Grandma hugged me tight, whispering, You did right.
Child.
Justice ain't pretty, but it's necessary. The house emptied overnight. Grandma whisked me to her condo in Columbus. Lawyers swarming like benevolent sharks.
The bonds?
Intact. Compounded. The grow-op? Raided. Yields traced to Dad's accomplices at the plant. Embezzlement charges stuck. Mom flipped first, trading testimony for reduced time. Jake, the baby of the family, got probation and a plea deal. But his football dreams? Shredded. Along with his ego. Senior year became a victory lap. OSU welcomed me with open arms. Sarah and I road-tripped to orientation, blasting Taylor Swift and plotting world domination. You're a badass. Hail, she said, arms slung over my shoulder. Own it. But victory tasted bittersweet. Therapy, mandated by Grandma, bless her, unraveled the knots. The counselor,
Dr.
Reyes, with her no-nonsense bob and coffee breath, prodded gently. Anger like yours doesn't come from nowhere.
Hannah.
What did they take from you? Really? Everything. my childhood, my trust, my face in the mirror. Reliving the punch, the laughter, the fall. They made me invisible, I admitted once, voice cracking. Until I wasn't, she nodded. And now, who are you without the fight? The question lingered as graduation approached. Valedictorian speech drafted. Cap and gown fitted. Jake wrote from juvie. Probation meant community service in a half-house. Pages of regret. Pleas for forgiveness. I was wrong.
Scared.
But you're still my sister.
Blood.
Remember? I burned the letter in Grandma's sink, watching flames curl the edges. Blood? It bound. But it didn't blind. Not anymore. The ceremony was a blur of applause and mortarboards. Afterward, at the reception in the school gym, streamers and punch bowls, pure Midwest kitsch, Sarah dragged me to the dance floor. One spin. Then we bail for tacos. That's when he appeared, Ethan, the quiet artist from art class, all lanky limbs and shy smiles. We'd shared charcoal sketches once, trading stories of absent dads, his in the military,
Meanie. Well.
Indisposed. Congrats. Valedictorian, he said, holding out a daisy chain crown. For the queen of comebacks. I laughed, real and light, the sound foreign after years of guarded snarls. We danced, awkward and perfect, his hand warm on my waist. For the first time since the rebirth, I felt present. Not plotting, not punishing, just here. But fate, that cruel jester, had one more twist. As we swayed, my phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. Miss you. Cease. Out early for good behavior. Coming home. We need to talk. Home. The word hollowed me. Grandma's condo was sanctuary, but the old house, auctioned off. Debts devoured it. Still, Jake's home meant me, the loose end he couldn't tie. I didn't reply. Instead, I pocketed the phone, pulled Ethan closer. Want a ditch and stargaze? His grin lit the night. Thought you'd never ask. We drove to the quarry overlook, blankets and stolen stars. There, under the vast Ohio sky, I confessed fragments, not the death, the rebirth, the ledger of vengeance, but the scars. My family. They broke me. But I broke them back. He traced my knuckles, bruised from old habits. Strength isn't breaking others. It's rebuilding yourself. Tears pricked. Unbidden. Rebirth wasn't just survival. It was this vulnerability traded for vengeance. Light piercing the grudge-fueled dark. Summer unfolded in lazy strokes. Internships at a Columbus law firm. Coffee dates with Ethan turning to late-night talks on his porch swing. Grandma thrived, channeling her fury into advocacy. Victims' rights seminars where she'd nod at me proudly. That's my girl. Turning pain to purpose. Mom's trial came in July. A sweltering affair in the county courthouse. I testified. Voice steady. She signed my name to the transfers. Said it was for college.
Meaning?
The jury, blue-collar folks like us, saw the betrayal plain.
Guilty.
5 years. Minimum. Dad's was quicker. He took a plea. 10 with parole. Jake? His hearing was the gut punch. 18 now. Gaunt in his ill-fitting suit, he faced the judge with downcast eyes. I let my anger win.
Sir.
Hurt the people I loved most. The judge, a grizzled vet with a soft spot for redemption arcs,
leaned in. Son.
Love doesn't punch. It protects. But you've got a shot to learn that. 18 months. Supervised release. Make it count. I waited outside. Ethan at my side, his hand to anchor. Jake emerged. Chains metaphorical but heavy. Our eyes met across the marble steps.
Han.
Don't. The word was a wall. But crack showed. He looked. Human. Shattered. Like the mirror in that bathroom 10 years ago. I get it. I do. The laughs. The hits, they were wrong. But destroying us. Was that you? Or the pain talking? His question pierced.
Dr.
Rhea's words echoed. Who are you without the fight? I swallowed. Both. It saved me. He nodded. Tears carving tracks. Can we start over? Not family. Just people. The old me would have spat venom. The vengeful ghost would have walked away. But this Hannah, the one who danced under gym lights, confessed under stars, extended a hand. Not forgiveness. Not yet. But a bridge. Maybe. One coffee.
No promises.
He took it.
Great tentative.
Ethan squeezed my shoulder. Approval. Not possession. Fall semester at OSU hit like a freight train. Dorms. Lectures. The electric hum of independence. Ethan visited weekends. Our worlds colliding in study sessions and stolen kisses. Jake kept his word. Weekly check-ins. Awkward but honest. He enrolled in community college, majoring in agribusiness. Legit this time. He joked over bad diner coffee.
No hugs. No holidays.
But the ice thawed. Mom wrote from prison, letters of apology. Laced with that old manipulation. I did it for you kids. I filed them away. Unread past the first line.
Dad?
Silence. Broken once by a collect call I declined. Some bridges stayed ash. By winter break, the twist I'd never seen coming crystallized. Grandma called me to her office, yes. She had one now. For her nonprofit.
Seat. Dear.
News on the family finances. I braced for debt.
Disaster.
Instead, your parents' assets? Seized. But there's a victim restitution fund. And your testimony. It's open doors. A book deal. Maybe. Or a speaking tour. Your story, betrayal. Rebirth through resilience, it's powerful. Rebirth. The word hung. Literal and not. I laughed.
Disbelieving.
Me? A motivational speaker? After all that. Why not? You've got the fire. And honey. America's full of hails, families that fracture. You could show em how to forge stronger. Ethan, when I told him over hot cocoa, pulled me close. You're already doing it. With me. With Jake. Hell. With yourself. Christmas that year was ours. Me.
Grandma.
Ethan. And tentatively Jake. For pie and parlor games. No laughs at my expense. Just stories. Shared and scarred. When Jake raised his glass to second chances, I clinked mine. The toast tasting of possibility. But as snow fell soft outside, doubt whispered. Was this happy? Or just the calm before the storm? Vengeance had hollowed me. But grace? It filled the voids. Tentative as new snow. Spring bloomed treacherous, midterms, and moral minefields. OSU's campus thrummed with cherry blossoms and caffeine-fueled ambition, but my world tilted on Jake's 6-month check-in. We met at a neutral spot, the campus coffee shop, indie folk strumming in the background, baristas slinging lattes like elixirs. He looked settled. Crew cut from his AG co-op job, sleeves rolled to show a tattoo, a phoenix. Ironic as hell. "Class is good," he asked, stirring sugar into black coffee. "Brutal. Crim law's kicking my ass." I sipped my chai, the spice grounding me. Small talk as foreplay to the real talk. He nodded. "Then, therapy's mandatory."
But
"It's working." Made me see how I was Dad's echo. Punch first. Think never.
pause.
"I'm sorry."
Hum.
For the nose. The laughs. All of it. The words landed soft, but they stirred the grave dirt of memory. Blood on the deck. Parents' guffaws. Apology accepted. But trust? That's earned. Fair. He slid an envelope across the table. Manila. Innocuous. Found this in the old house attic. Cleaning for the new owners. Thought you'd want it. Inside. Letters. Not Mom's forgeries, Annelie's. Yellowed and folded tight. To Hannah. When you're old enough, your parents aren't who they seem. The money from the plant? It's tainted. Ellie knew too much. And they silenced her. Not pills, poison. I have proof in the safe deposit box. First National. Key under the loose floorboard in my old room. My hands shook.
Poison?
The OD story shattered. Ellie hadn't slipped. She'd been pushed literally. Figuratively. A secret buried deeper than the grow-up. The embezzlement. They silenced her. Plural.
Mom.
Dad. And Jake? He'd been 10. But kids hear whispers. You read it. My voice was ice. He shook his head. Sealed.
But. Yeah.
I knew something was off about Aunt Ellie. Dad said she was unstable, but I remember her fighting with him that week. Yelling about the books. The world narrowed to that envelope. A Pandora's box in newsprint. Betrayals Hydra, cut one head. 2 grew. This wasn't just theft, it was murder. Covered up. Pinned on Ellie's demons, the family narrative polished over decades. I bolted. Envelope clutched like contraband. Ethan found me in the stacks of the law library, hyperventilating over precedents on cold cases.
Hum. Talk to me.
Words tumbled. The letter. The implications. His face darkened, not fear, but fury on my behalf. We go to the cops.
Now.
But which cops? The department that had buried Ellie's autopsy? Small-town justice was a rigged game. I needed leverage, irrefutable, prosecutable. That night, I drove to the old house under cover of dusk. New owners for sale, sign a mocking sentinel. The key under the mat was a long shot. Miracles weren't my brand.
It worked.
The floorboard creaked up, revealing a rusted key taped to the underside. First National Bank. Downtown closed till morning. Adrenaline buzzed as I slipped away. Headlights off till the county line. Dawn found me at the safety deposit box. Teller bleary-eyed and unquestioning. Inside, Ellie's diary. Crisp photos of ledgers. A vial label, antifreeze, siphoned from the garage. Dad's handwriting on the margin. Mix in the gin. She won't taste it. Timestamp. April 12th, 1995. Vomit rose, but I swallowed it down.
Proof.
Motive: Ellie discovering the skimming, threatening to whistleblow. Method: poison. Ruled accidental OD. The perfect crime.
Until me.
Back at the dorm, I digitized it all, scans to the cloud. Backups tripled. Ethan paced as I called Grandma. Ellie was murdered. By them. Her silence stretched, then shattered.
God.
I suspected. After the inconsistencies in the talk screen. But they were family.
Sobs.
Then Steele. We end this. For Ellie. For you. The call to the state AG's office was clinical, anonymous tip at first. Then my name when they pressed.
Hannah Hale.
Victim's niece. I have evidence. Detectives swarmed by noon, cold case unit. Hungry for headlines. Jake's text hit as I signed statements. Heard about the box. Dad called from prison, panicking. Says it's lies. Ellie was suicidal.
But.
I remember him mixing her drink that night. Said it was special tonic. Han, what have we done?
We.
The pronoun that damned us. I didn't reply. Therapy with Dr. Reyes that week. This changes everything. Or nothing. Everything, I whispered. The revenge I planned? It was half the story. This is the whole damn book. She nodded. And your role? Avenger? Or just the truth teller?
Both.
Always both. The indictments dropped in June. Manslaughter for Dad and Mom. Conspiracy layered on their existing sentences. No death penalty in Ohio. But life without? Close enough. Jake, subpoenaed as witness. His memory of the tonic sealing the deal. Immunity for testimony. But the stain?
Permanent.
He showed at my apartment unannounced. Rain-soaked and raw. They want me to testify. Against them. Our parents. I buzzed him up. Ethan hovering protectively in the kitchen. Coffee poured. Black as the mood. You have to.
Jake.
Truth or rot. He collapsed into the couch. Head in hands. I covered for them. After Ellie. Lied to the cops about seeing her sad. Because Dad said it'd ruin us.
Us.
The cult of family. Devouring its own. And now.
Now.
I choose you. The sister I broke. Who didn't break. Tears fell. Unashamed. Forgive me? Not for them, for us. The dam in me cracked. I knelt. Arms around him. First touch since the creek shove. Forgiven. But we rebuild separate. You.
Me.
Our own paths. He nodded.
Clinging like a lifeline.
Ethan joined. A quiet triad in the storm. Trial season scorched summer, testimony halls echoing with Ellie's ghost. I took the stand in a borrowed blazer. Voice unwavering. They poisoned her for profit. Laughed off my pain to keep the lie alive. But lies die. Truth endures. Mom crumbled. Wailing innocence. Dad stonewalled.
Eyes dead.
The jury? 2 days. Guilty on all counts. Sentencing, life. No parole. Justice. Cold and final. Fall welcomed me back to OSU a hero, whispers of that girl who took down her family, mingling with envy. Ethan proposed over bonfire embers, ring simple. Promise profound. Marry me.
Hannah Hale.
Let's build something unbreakable.
I said yes.
Tears salting the flames. Jake graduated that spring, AG degree in hand, job offer from a co-op in Toledo. At our wedding, small, lakeside, grandma beaming, he walked me down the aisle, arms steady. Proud of you.
Cease.
Blood or not? Not, I whispered, smiling. Chosen. The twist? In the end, it wasn't tragedy or tidy happy, life's messier. A mosaic of scars and stars. Vengeance birthed justice, betrayal forged bonds anew. I died once, reborn in fire.
Now.
I lived in grace, in grit, in the American dream we'd all clawed from the dirt. Years later, with Ethan and our daughter, Ellie, fierce-eyed, I'd tell her bedtime tales of ghosts and second chances. Families break, I'd say, tucking her in. But you're the mender. And in the quiet, mirror uncracked, I'd see her, Hannah Hale, unbroken,